So we're already at that point. The first edition of the 2021 NFL Mock Draft is here, and Todd McShay, Mel Kiper are ready to break down their picks for the first 10 teams. With so many players opting out of the 2020 season, can they still break the top 10? Mel and Todd take us through how things are going to shape up.
Kiper, here we are, man. We're getting closer. I mean, who knew that we would be talking NFL draft this early in a strange year? But let's just go through the top 10.
I think you draft Trevor Lawrence, trade Sam Darnold, get what you can, draft Trevor Lawrence, and use those other picks, all those other picks, to fill those holes at a lot of need areas.
I do eventually think that they wind up taking Trevor Lawrence. If you think you can get an upgrade at that position, why not take it?
They have a quarterback issue, and you think about Gardner Minshew now, it's Mike Glennon, Luton. They don't have a quarterback. I think Jacksonville has to take Justin Fields with that pick number 2.
And I think if you're sitting at 2 and you need a quarterback, you got to take Fields and see how it runs.
Here's where you got to take Penei Sewell, the left tackle out of Oregon. He opted out, but we know what he can do, Todd. He's played enough football. He's got that body of work already. He's a plug-and-play left tackle.
If you're the Bengals and you have a quarterback that you believe is the future, you have to take the best offensive lineman. And if Penei Sewell is still available, he is the best offensive lineman in this class, that's where you got to go. It really is a no-brainer to me. I think they need a linebacker. I think they need a guy like Micah Parsons, Penn State. Where do you think they go?
I think that's certainly an option. Todd Parsons opted out, but 2 years ago he was spectacular. It was a tackling machine. Also, think about this, Todd. You think about Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida.
Yep.
DeVonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. And Jamar Chase, LSU wide receiver, opted out, but had a spectacular year 2 years ago. Well, you think about the pick and the value of a team that may want to move up and get one of those 3 great pass-catching options, and the Chargers could move down just a bit. So that might be a spot where you get some activity there.
DB has been a need for years. Patrick Surtain, to me, is the best corner in the entire draft. He's a press corner. He's a guy who can get in your face. He can take away the number 1.
I think Micah Parsons doesn't get past this spot early in round 1, linebacker out of Penn State. Well, I think the Falcons are in an interesting spot because they're thinking, okay, who is the best player on the board at that point? I'll throw a name. I love Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame, but that's probably too early. You maybe move down and look at him a little bit.
You've come around on him. All right.
Number 6 is all over the field. I mean, and he's perfect for today's NFL with his speed, his coverage ability, he gets sacks. He's a great tackler with those long arms. Just a spectacular player.
5 wide receivers in the first round. Pitts, the tight end, who basically is a wide receiver that you play in the slot. You play him in line, you play him outside.
I think at this point, if a DeVonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama's there, pick him up immediately.
You know what's amazing? 4 first-rounders in 2 years. You go back to last year. You got Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. This year you got Smith and Waddle. And I think of all 4, the most consistent has been Smith. I agree with you.
Remember, they went defense heavy last year. Now it's offense, weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And Kyle Pitts is more than a tight end. He's a versatile weapon. He's a matchup nightmare, Todd. Love Kyle Pitts. If he's there for Carolina at this point in the first round, you got to take him.
I love Rashad Bateman, by the way. He's Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going to wind up coming in the league, and he's going to have 55, 60 catches his first year.
I do think wide receiver, whether Chase, Smith, Waddle, we talked about them, they need a wideout, whether it's for Stafford or whoever the quarterback ends up being, Todd, a wide receiver has to be in play.
To me, I think Zach Wilson makes a lot of sense. Zach Wilson is special, and I think he's gonna really start to rise as we get closer to April.
You're in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr. You can't have the 4th best quarterback in the division. You got to decide, can Drew Lock, with more experience, Todd, close that gap and keep improving? Or you have to think about Trey Lance or a Zach Wilson or Mac Jones. You got to think about quarterback.
If it's not the quarterback, I would go Surtain with the number 10 overall pick, assuming that that's the pick that they wind up having.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.